In the daytime, I'm Emily, just a normal girl with a normal life. But there's something about me that no one knows yet, because I've got a secret. Miraculous Season 5 on the Azura Media Club, home of the bad girl coven. This is your coven leader, Emily. We're talking Miraculous Season 5. I don't know. That's the best I can do, honestly. Yes, finally. Miraculous Ladybug Season 5. Can you believe it? We're here. We finished the show for now. I mean, obviously they're going to make more, but... a great season of Miraculous Ladybug. Possibly the best season of Miraculous Ladybug. I feel like the most consistently good season of Miraculous Ladybug. Off the bat, like, I need to get into another playlist here so we can start talking about this, because it's fucking insane, this season. Spoilers for Season 5, by the way. I'm gonna do spoilers. Lots of spoilers. All the spoilers for the entirety of Miraculous Ladybug. I can finally say that now. I gotta say, immediate big reactions, alright? Her hair wasn't even real! What the fuck? Was it Emily? Is it Amelie? I don't fucking know. What was his wish? How do I fucking know? I don't fucking know what's happening right now. What is happening to my baby superhero show right now? They fucking grew up. They can use their powers as many times. Lucky Charm! Lucky Charm! Lucky Charm! Cataclysm! 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 Oh my god, what the fuck is this show? We got everything we finally wanted. Also, I have the comic now. I don't know if I had that in the last episode or whatever. You know, that ultra rare comic that has like the first like notable appearance of the United Heroes. Here they are, way before the New York special. I knew about them because they were all here in this fucking comic. Is that not fucking insane? So I remember when I saw them in the New York special, I'm like, holy shit. So, yeah, anyway. Oh my god. Seriously, this has to be like one of the greatest seasons of television. Like, almost ever. Like, especially for Miraculous Ladybug. This show is all over the place, man. Like, I love this show. And I think this show is consistently good since the beginning. I know Season 1's a little rough. It gets better and better from there. I love Season 2. Season 3 is a great evolution. Maybe not as good as Season 2, but still great. And then there's Season 4, which does a lot, and it evolves a lot too. This season does everything that we wanted. The only thing we didn't get is the identity reveal. And potentially, we even have Emily back. We don't know. I was sure it was Emily. And then, all the stupid fan comments. Is it Emily? Is it Emily? I don't fucking know. Thanks for making me wait and think about that so that fucking I have to worry about that until the end of 2024, thank you. I swear to God, I am 2 days away. 2 fucking days away. It is coming out this goddamn Saturday. Not to you guys, because this will be far in the future, but it'll be like a month off from me saying this. But for me recording this, in 2 days, the fucking Paris special is coming out. And if that special does not resolve the Amelie thing, I'm done. I'm fucking done thinking about this show until 2024. Oh my god, you guys. This is the craziest season of Miraculous Ladybug. Let's get the fuck into it, right? Alright, first off, I'm just gonna get it out of the way. I mean, I already fucking talked about Marinette and Adrian and all that. I didn't really talk about how they're fucking in love now, which is the most amazing thing ever. They're the best couple ever. We've waited for this for 5 seasons. I'm just gonna... I was gonna do a different video about it, but it really is so inconsequential. I appreciate the message they were trying to do. I appreciate the vibes, the episode was a good episode, but it has nothing to do with Season 5, outside of some brief mentions for Monarch and like, the rings and all of that, like, elements of Season 5. Action episode, whatever, you know, okay. It's fine. It's completely fine. The guy's power is, like, he's the king of plastic, right? He's pollution incarnate. That's the whole point of the thing. The whole thing is just an environmental message. The United Heroes and the Shanghai kids show up in this shit, you know, in the action episode. That's cool. They also show up in the friggin' finale of the show, Season 5, which is basically the finale of this segment of the show, which we'll get into later on, much later on. I'm assuming this video is going to be very long, unfortunately, for me and for everyone. But I really want to talk in depth about it. So yeah, we got action, which is technically like episode 19 or something. I'm just gonna get it out of the way because I don't care. The message was good. The whole... I followed the whole thing. Like, all the characters were there, banning against plastics and all that. Great. Cool. Good message. So inconsequential to the show and what it was trying to do. And especially if it was episode 19, it would have came between, like, emotion and, like later episodes that were, like, really pushing everything forward. So, but it actually came out at the end of the season in September after the season had finished. So, no need to review action. There's not much going on there. There's not anything plot significant there, as it was meant to be, you know? The villain's alright. Like, I think he's got a cool power. He can turn people into plastic, and then, like, he has the B power of, you know, of action. They assign, like a name, like a thing to each power. Like, this is the power, this is the Kwame, or the power of action is, like, the B, Miraculous. I don't know why that is, but wouldn't it be the power of inaction? But, because it's venom, it, you know, it, pauses people or whatever, so... Yeah, so... you know, and that character never shows up again, this King of Plastics guy. He's like a one-off episode kind of character, like, for sure. Maybe he'll show up in the future or something, I don't know. Anyway, he's just like a villain of the week kind of thing. Kind of like that, Encyclomedian, the comedian guy. He never shows up again, you know, like, ever. So, cool. Glad he was in that one episode. Alright, let's start at the beginning, because I know we ended on a cliffhanger last time, you know, like this whole thing. So, the first episode is kind of all about, you know, he realizes that, hey, I've got the powers, to go back in time and whatnot. So he starts fucking around with time, basically. Monarch, that is. He's Monarch now because he has all of the Miraculouses, which is cool. Yeah, Gabriel, now Monarch. That's the first lines of this thing here. So he uses the Rabbit Miraculous to defeat Ladybug and Cat Noir in the past. No, I mean, that's his goal. So anyway, that's what he's trying to do, but Bunnix, like, comes out of the burrow and brings in Cat Noir and Ladybug to go around through time. They end up, like, finding Master Fu at one point in the past, like, when he's got the Miracle Box. That's how they get the... It's a very confusing episode. That's how they get the Bunny Miraculous to give to Alex in the present, I believe, so that she can become Bunnix, so that she can be there in the time loop to be able to make all that happen. I don't know. It's confusing. Anyway, so they go see Master Fu at one point, so that was interesting. I'm trying to think what else happens. Like, Natalie in that episode was like, hey, you could go back and just, like, give yourself the information on how to fix the Peacock Miraculous. That's the other thing. They fix the Peacock Miraculous at the beginning of the episode. But, you know, Natalie's, like, still dying or whatever, and, So anyway, yeah, so they're there. She's like, just go back in time and do that, you know? And, he's about to do that, and then he sees the little box. Ladybug did her Lucky Charm. It's the little box from Heroes Day. Great callback, by the way. Love Heroes Day, one of my favorite episodes of all time. So, very, very good callback there. So they go back to Heroes Day, and they set a trap for him, for Monarch there. And, oh, and he goes back to Lady Wi-Fi, too. Like, that was another cool callback, like, he goes back to Lady Wi-Fi, and she's like, Ladybug's like looking at him in the background, she's like, that's not how it happened, and he's like, it is now, or whatever. It's like, I mean, if any time for him to go back to, Ladybug was pinned in a corner at that point. If Ollie had known to pull the earrings off at that point, I think Ladybug would have been screwed in, like, episode 4, so, I mean, there was that. Ollie did a pretty good job as Lady Wi-Fi, like, she's competent as a villain, for sure. Gotta love Ollie. Anyway. So yeah, it's basically just about them fucking around through time. And by the end, there is a point when they're in the Master Fu timeline, I believe, where they stun Monarch, or they get him to... They knock him out somehow. I don't remember how exactly they do it. But they knock him out and they take back... I think the rabbit Miraculous, right? Isn't that how they get that one back? Or something? I don't remember. They have to get that one back, because otherwise he would always have the power of time travel, which he does not always have in the future episodes of this season. So I'm pretty sure that's when they get that one back. Honestly, that makes sense. You can't just give Monarch the power to time travel in every single episode in this season, otherwise it's really, really broken, right? Like, he has Second Chance, and he later, you know, tries to do stuff with Second Chance. That doesn't really get him anywhere too much. Honestly, he should have used Second Chance to try to figure out Ladybug and Cat Noir's identities like Luca did. Not that he was trying to figure that out, but you know what I mean. So yeah, actually I had a thought about Ephemeral the other day, like an hour ago. I had this thought about Ephemeral while I was driving. I was like, you know, like, I'm glad they kind of went this direction that wasn't the Ephemeral direction, where Marinette and Cat Noir just fall in love organically, where Marinette doesn't know that he's... I'm sorry, Marinette and Adrian fall in love. Marinette and Cat Noir do fall in love later on in this season, we'll see that. Marinette and Adrian fall in love organically without knowing their superhero identities. I think that's kind of the best way to do it, because if you do it any other way than that, it's more about the superhero thing. And as we'll see later in this season, she couldn't fall in love with Cat Noir. She did fall in love with Cat Noir. Cat Noir could not... Also was in love with Marinette, but didn't want it to be a thing because of the fact that, like, she didn't know who he was fully, you know? Which is odd, because he's Adrian, and he knows that he's Adrian, so... And at that point, even, especially, he loves Marinette as Cat Noir. God, we shouldn't just talk about that, because that's later on. Anyway, sorry. I'll get there. Teaser for you. I mean, that's basically the whole premise of it, but... Alright, episode 2. So, there's that. Episode 2. Let's see. Right, so the Guardian guy comes back and he tells him, like, hey, you fucked up. You lost the Miracle Box. That's kind of a big deal, you know? And they kind of tell him off. They're kind of like, hey, look, we're gonna fix this. At least he didn't get our Miraculouses or whatever, and he's like, yeah, alright, I'll go get help. He doesn't really do that. I mean, he does show up in the finale again, you know, and he shows up, I think, briefly in one other episode or something. I don't know. But he's really not in this season a lot, so there's that. Right, so after the end of the last season, obviously they're trying to find Felix because he betrayed them So yeah, that's kind of what this is about. And we see the creation of the Alliance Rings, which are this new thing that Gabriel Gress is creating. I'm pretty sure at the end of this episode or the end of the next episode, he turns all the Miraculouses into, like, powder, so he can, like, reconfigure them into, like, the rings that he can wear. Because when he has the rings, he can transfer the powers to people that he akumatizes. Which is cool as shit, so that they get the powers of the Miraculouses. And you know, like, the whole season you're like, oh, where's all the Centamonsters? But then you remember, oh yeah, Felix has the butterfly, the peacock Miraculous, so, you know, he's got the power of Centamonsters now, so he's not Shadow Moth anymore, now he's Monarch, you know, it's different. Right, and so, yeah, sorry, I watched these episodes, like, forever ago, so, and he tests this, by akumatizing Kagame's mom again, who's actually a pretty, integral character to this season in a lot of ways, or she at least has a bigger role in this season. But anyway, he akumatizes her to, like, test out this new power to see if he can transfer the miraculous power to somebody through the Alliance Ring, which he does, and it works out just fine. So, and he also transfers her the power of multiplication. She's actually a pretty formidable villain. I mean, like, you know, like, what, 10 Akari Gozens is going to be really difficult to friggin', you know, go with. Oh, and in the first episode, he tries to use, like, so many of the Miraculouses all at once, and it, like, backfires on him, because you can only use, like, 5 at once, or whatever. And he figures out that this is kind of the limit, is, like, 4 or 5 Miraculouses at once, is how many you can use feasibly, you know. Except for Ladybug, she can use, like, a ton of them at once. I remember Chloe tried to use them all in the season 3 finale or whatever, but she didn't know the magic words, so, yeah, so this, like, and that's the thing. This is, like, setting up the whole Alliance thing, which is, like, a big theme throughout this season. He has these Alliance Rings. They're, like, these little, like, I don't know, phone things in your ring or whatever, and they, like, have Adrian and Kagame, and earlier on they have Lila on there to, like, be your digital Siri, basically. You know, and then, so Adrian doesn't really like the fact that he's being on these rings or whatever, but also it frees him from his modeling career, because they have, like, these 3D, you know, like, digitized images of him, so they can make him do and say whatever they want. I don't know how that technology really works, but I mean, I guess it's kind of just like the shit that Disney's doing now, and appropriately enough, the show is on Disney, so I mean, you know, there you go. Also, the animation in this season is, like, top-notch quality, especially in the finale. Oh my god, the animation was so good. The later season is just, like, whoa with the animation. It looks so nice. Like, there's a scene when they're fighting in the finale, and, like, Natalie's there, I think. Maybe that's part 1 of the finale. Natalie's, like, there, like, trying to fight Monarch or whatever, and it's like, it just looks so crisp. It's so good. I feel like they put a lot of effort into that. I mean, this could have definitely been, like, the finale to the show, which is crazy. But I'm glad we're getting more. I hope that they end it at some point, but I do like how they gave this kind of an ending feel, too. So it is kind of the end of Ladybug, but it's also, like, not the end of Ladybug, which is great. It's a new beginning of Ladybug, you know, so that's cool. Alright, episode 3, Destruction. So this is a good one. The Kwame, Gabriel's, like, trying to force the Kwamis to tell him where the Guardian is, where Ladybug is. And so, they like, put him on this scavenger hunt to find Marinette. So he shows up in, like, Marinette's room at one point, because she, like, set this up for Monarch to, like, get to her. And then she's like, I don't know where Ladybug is. She just gave me this clue or whatever, so that she just seemed like she was part of the thing. But obviously, whenever Monarch shows up at Marinette's house, she's gonna know that he's looking for her. So, um, so he keeps following the path of the clues, and it eventually leads him to the ice rink, and then that leads him to the wax museum, or whatever. So they set a trap. It's Ladybug and Cat Noir in the room as their statues. And so, well, Cat Noir is his statue, and so he has, like, a little piece of paper in his thing, and it says half-wit. And then, so, like, he puts together the clues, and it's, like, 43 half-wit street, or whatever, which is, like, the address to the Guardian. And then he realizes he's been duped, and then, like, Marinette, like, pops out to, like, surprise him or whatever. And the most insane thing ever fucking happens in the fact that Cat Noir cataclysms fucking Monarch, who obviously is his dad. Not that he knows that it's his dad that he's cataclysmed, but, that's some insane shit right there. That he freaking, like, did that, you know? He, like, gets the drop on him and, like, cataclysms him. It's so freaking crazy. But yeah, so that's basically the episode, but it kind of speeds up, like, you know, like, at this point we know shit is getting serious, because, like, we know things are gonna happen this season, because, like, Gabriel Agreste does not have time, you know, nor does Monarch, so we know that, like, by the end of the season, shit's gonna go down, like, you know, that's what I like about this season. It kind of builds upon each other in every single episode. It feels like maybe the most serialized, like, season of Ladybug. Like, every episode is connected and just keeps building and building and building on what comes prior. I mean, Season 4 did that to an extent, but, like, this really, like, ratchets it up to the next level kind of thing. So I really enjoy that. So, man, this thing's all off now. Yeah, so that's episode 3. Pretty big thing. Oh, and then this is when he transfers all the powers into the rings, or whatever. So there you go. Alright. Episode 4 is Jubilation. So, right, so this is an interesting episode because we meet this character, So Clean, who's apparently, so clean. No, I'm just kidding. So she's this, like, character that Marinette really looked up to, and we gotta talk about Marinette's past here in episode, like, 14 or whatever. Holy shit, was that, like, the most, like, crazy backstory shit to Marinette, and it makes so much sense why she is the way that she is, you know, at this point. So anyway, Marinette knew this character from back in the day when they were in school together. The previous year. And now she, like, sells paints to her mom or whatever. So she sees So Clean out there pretending to be Ladybug, and she wants to go see her. Because she knows she's not Ladybug, obviously. She, like, saves the owl or whatever. You know, the owl. Hoo-hoo. So, but, yeah, so she goes to see her, and she, like, talks to her, and she, like, tries to get her to admit she's Ladybug or whatever, and she, like, shows her the Alliance and all of that, and she's like, ooh, the Alliance, you know, like, all that kind of stuff. And then, Marinette accidentally wears it while she goes out and is Ladybug, and, like, Gabriel tracks that as, like, oh my god, this is Ladybug. But since the Alliance belongs to So Clean, he thinks it's her, which is, you know, she looks almost just like an older Marinette. She even, like, wears her hair in the same way and stuff. And as we figure out down the line, that's because Marinette was inspired by her, and that's why she wears her hair that way, is because of how, like, how much she had stood up for her and stuff in the past. Especially against Chloe, like, she was her main defense against Chloe, like, back in the day. Before she had Alia, of course, you know, like, before they were together and, like, best friends and whatever. But, you know, she had to leave school, because, I don't know, school only goes to, like, middle school in this, universe. I guess there's, like, high schools and stuff, but, like, you don't have to do that or something. I don't know, maybe the French system is very different than our system or something. Hard to say. But, yeah, so right, so she's there. Mr. Damocles, like, gets akumatized because he's, like, really sad and like, he doesn't feel like he's a real superhero. Kind of like, you know, in Dark Owl, he becomes Darker Owl, and he gets the power of Jubilation, which, like, pretty useless power, like I said before, but I think he uses it to good effect. He does this kind of power that's very similar to Hawkmoth's power, Monarch's power in the finale there, except it kind of does the opposite of that, where it shows you all of the good things that, like, you know, it, like, puts you into this trance of, like, showing you the good thing, like, the things you want to see in your life. So he, like, puts Ladybug and Cat Noir in this trance of, like, they're married and they have these, like, weird baby doll kids and, like, all this stuff, and they're, like, at the movies together. They're, like, you know, getting Andre's ice cream together, but there's always these alarm clocks in the background, because that was Marinette's lucky charm, is like this alarm clock or whatever. But she realizes it's not real. Like, they have a whole life together as Ladybug and Cat Noir. They never revealed their identities together. But yeah, but then they wake up and you know, at the end they kind of realize, like, oh my god, like, we live this whole life and it's not even real. And like, Cat Noir is pretty sad about that, and Ladybug is too. But, like, they had genuine feelings for each other. Like, it's pretty crazy, you know? Like, pretty freaking crazy. Like, but then she's like, oh no, it's all just, like, part of the power or something. It's like, come on, Marinette. Like, you know. I think this does kind of endear her to Cat Noir a little bit later on, like, in a few episodes after this, so it's interesting, though. But anyway, so, yeah, the So Clean character, I think, is, like, the main, like, notable takeaway from this episode is, like, her character, like, kind of becomes important in that other episode I was talking about, so, oh yeah, and then, like, her mom tries to gift her an alliance, but she's like, I don't really want an alliance, like, you keep it, or whatever, which was a smart move, because, and I think she knew that, too, like, that obviously the data well, she didn't know that the data on the alliance was, like, gonna be used for nefarious things. Obviously, she doesn't know, like, Gabriel's Hawkmoth or anything, or Monarch, sorry, but, you know, I guess it's smart of her to not take the alliance for a lot of reasons. She doesn't even know that's how they transfer the powers either, but that's also smart of her to do that, because then he can never, like, take advantage of her in that way or something. Not that she would ever get akumatize, because, like, she never friggin' does. She almost does in this season, like, later on. An episode I really want to talk about, I keep talking about, but we can't talk about it yet. So, yeah, so that's episode 4. Episode 5, Determination. Luca and Kagame. Okay. Yeah, so... Okay, let's see. Right. Okay, yeah. So, they bring... Luca and Kagame bring Marinette and Adrian back to the museum. And they're trying to, like... Adrian has, like, realized that he really likes Marinette, I feel like, at this point. Or maybe this is, like, the episode where that happens. But... And he's trying to admit this to... You know, like, trying to get a Marinette to, like, fall into this or whatever. Like, not fall into this. Like, I think this is what happened in Multiplication, actually. This is an aspect of that episode they didn't really talk about in this, like, summary thing here. Right, there's a whole part of that episode where it's like Marinette can't love Adrian and all this stuff. Like, you know how it is. You know how she is. And she gives up on, like, loving Adrian or anybody really at that point, because she can't She can't if she's Ladybug, basically. That's like the whole thing, right? And they do that later. Again, in an episode I want to talk about, which we'll get to in a second. So anyway, in this episode, Adrian has realized how much he loves Marinette, and especially because she stands up to his dad or tells him to stand up to his dad, I guess, to get him to not have to model anymore, which is something he doesn't want to really do. And there's a lot of reason that, like, Adrian kind of comes around to loving Marinette, you know, at this point. But she doesn't want to love Adrian because she doesn't want that to interfere with Ladybug and all of that stuff, you know, so. Because she doesn't feel like she can truly be fully herself around Adrian without this whole Ladybug thing, and because of some reasons, which we'll talk about here in a bit, you know, so, okay. So anyway, they're at this museum together. The museum director gets akumatized into Manipula, and she, like, has all of the statues of, you know, like, all the heroes and whatever. And, Ladybug, and that's the thing, Ladybug, as Ladybug, starts to fall in love with Cat Noir, who, Cat Noir, as Adrian, obviously, is in love with Marinette, so it's going the exact opposite now, so that's what's really, like, fun about the dynamic now. It's like, it's getting reversed, you know, at this point. But it's also kind of heartbreaking because of that. But it all has a happy ending in the end. Sort of. I mean, obviously, they don't know each other's identities yet, but, so yeah. Okay. Passion, which is episode 6. So Adrian tries to get closer to Marinette, while Marinette gloats about how amazing Cat Noir is. Yes, so this is where she starts falling for Cat Noir for some reason. Well, I guess because of that last episode, because obviously she's Ladybug. So as Ladybug, she starts falling for Cat Noir, but as Marinette, she's also falling for Cat Noir. So she thinks, as Marinette, we can be together with Cat Noir, you know, like, I guess. And Natalie, yeah, I forgot to mention, like, Natalie is completely pretty much given up on Gabriel after the first episode. She's like, you had it. You had the perfect opportunity, and you blew it. I'm not going to help you anymore. You know, you're hopeless, blah, 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 all this stuff. I think it kind of wins her back at some point here, but, like, also, you know, she kind of is just giving up on him, which, fair enough. I mean, you know, he's kind of a failure sometimes. Although he does do a really good job this season. I will give him all the credit this season. He wins, you know? Like, so we'll get there. So yeah, anyway, she gets akumatized as Safari and tries to hunt down Ladybug and Cat Noir. She has the goat's power of passion, which lets her, like, track people down, I guess, or something. Ladybug gets distracted by Cat Noir's feelings and gets hit by Venom. Marinette and Adrian have to... Oh, yeah, they swapped Miraculouses again to go back. But they end up figuring out, like, hey, she can't track us when we're Adrian and Marinette. Not that they know that they're Adrian and Marinette, but you know what I mean. Like, when they're Adrian and Marinette, she can't track us, so they end up switching back, and then they just, they have to switch Miraculouses so that she can't follow them. Because she can't follow, like, Mr. Bug and Lady Noir or whatever. Like, it's very specific that your powers can't follow them. They can only follow Ladybug and Cat Noir. But, you know, that's how they end up defeating her, I guess. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like these earlier episodes, it's all about, like, these feelings between which characters. You know, like, at this point, it's Marinette is in love with Cat Noir, which we're going to set up for these big episodes coming up. So that everything kind of builds, like I've been saying. I'm just trying to, like, re-emphasize, like, the importance of these episodes. Like, I know a lot of these kind of seem a little bit fillery, but there's always stuff going on in the episodes that build into the next episodes, you know? It's a really cohesive and coherent story that just, like, follows the entire time. And it gets better, and it just keeps getting higher stakes and more crazy and all this stuff. So that's great. And I'm just going by Wikipedia order, obviously. So it's episode 7, which is Reunion. So in this episode, Marinette figures out that her Kwagatame, the thing that is so useless, so friggin' useless, until this point, actually has a purpose. When she goes to the museum and like puts the Louvre, when she puts the Kwagatama, whatever the fucking thing is called, in the statue of like a previous Ladybug. There's also previous other miraculous holders there, but she puts it in the statue of the previous Ladybug. She can talk to her, so she can talk to Joan of Arc in this episode. And she has to ask her a bunch of like history questions and stuff, and it's like a whole episode. The Pharaoh gets akumatized again. There's like this whole thing because Alex now has the Rabbit Miraculous and had to go back in time or whatever. Her brother thinks, mostly because of Lila and misinformation she's been spreading, that that Alex is back in time because Ladybug like forced her to go back in time or something, and it's like there's some kind of evil nefarious plot. It's like some, you know, social media like totally misinformed bullshit, you know, like the internet like conspiracy theory kind of stuff. And he like buys into this like really hard, so he's trying to get Ladybug to admit that like what she did was wrong or whatever, but you know, like that's not what happened, obviously. Like she willingly took on the job to go back in time because, you know, like they needed her help or whatever until Monarch was defeated. So yeah. But the whole episode is about that, and like she's trying to ask the previous holder about like her and her Cat Noir and how they like fell in love or something, and she only has memories up until the point when she like created the thing or like left the or the statue or something. I don't know. She's only up to a certain point, so she like doesn't know if her and the Cat Noir of her time like worked out or whatever. But there's like some cool animations from like the past and stuff. They showed like a little bit of history there with that. The whole gimmick is like the guy is trying to figure out the truth, so they ask him like questions from the past to like get him to go through doors and stuff, and then there's like one from the future, like what's the weather going to be in the future, so they get Alex to like send them a postcard or whatever, like from the future. And the time travel in this show is so confusing, but anyway, it's like a fun episode. It gives the necklace like finally something to do, so I'm sure we'll see more of that. Plague gives Adrian one too, by the way, so I'm sure we'll see that in the future where he's gonna ask different Cat Noirs things as well or something. Yeah. So, Illusion. That's episode 8. To help Ladybug and Cat Noir find out who Monarch is. Wait, how Monarch gives the powers... Oh, yeah, okay. I know this one. Alright, look. I don't want to say there's any bad episodes in this season, but if any of them were just, like, so kind of hard to watch at some points. Like, it starts out great. Adrian's dad realizes, hey, I probably don't have, like, a lot of time. I should spend some time with my son. So he, like, makes him pancakes and stuff, and he's like, oh, you've got parent-teacher conferences today, and, like, I'll come to that, son, of course, and, like, all this stuff. And he's like, being the total opposite, you know, because he wants to spend some time with his son before he dies of this cataclysm or whatever. He's, like, slowly, like, getting black skin, like his skin is like destroying itself. Like, so like his arm starts off and then it like goes to his chest and like, you know, all over him is like slowly dying from this cataclysm. So it's pretty grim when you actually like think about it and whatnot. But yeah, so he wants to spend more time with Adrian. But, Nino, like, forms this resistance stuff, so he gets, like, everyone. He gets, like, Lila and Marinette and, like, Ollie and all them to form the Resistance. And he wants to know how the powers are getting transferred to the supervillains or whatever. So he devises his plan to akumatize Gabriel Agreste, who, like, you know, is trying to be this good person now. And even Adrian's like, this is really fucked up that we're doing this. He's trying to be good now. And Nino's like, yeah, but it's gonna help Ladybug and Cat Noir. And, like, Marinette's, like, there, and she's like, I don't know if it can help Ladybug and Cat Noir, but, you know, even Adrian's like, oh, this is messed up, man. We shouldn't do this. So they all come in to this fucking classroom and, like, spill food on him just to get him to crack. And then at some point, he does. You know, obviously he doesn't really, but he wants to become akumatized so that he can, like, send them off the trail. So he, like, sends magic lightning onto himself, which isn't, like, what actually gives you the powers. It's just, like, you know, you just transfer them through the rings. But he, like, kind of sends them off the scent so that they think that they gained something from this encounter. And they apologize to him later and stuff. He becomes, like, the collector again and all this stuff. But it's just really messed up that that they would do this to him, you know? Like, I don't know. It feels so out of place. I mean, we know he's Monarch, so we know it's not, like, a big deal or whatever, but it is, like, he was trying to be a better guy, and, like, I thought that was kind of cringy how they did that episode. Like, I know it was necessary, but also, I don't know. They could have done... It's so hard to watch that scene where they all just walk in and they're like, oh my god, I just came from the cafeteria. You know, like, come on. It's so obvious, and it's so, like, staged and stuff. It just is so awkward to watch. And it's just like, oh my god, can we just get this scene over with, you know? It's an okay episode. It's probably, like, my least favorite episode of this season, though, honestly. But it is important because it does form the Resistance, which becomes a big part of the season later on and stuff. So, so be it. Not one of my favorites from this season, though. That was kind of a hard one to watch on that scene, anyway. So, Elation, episode 9. Alia chastises Marinette for deciding to love Cat Noir. Okay, finally, we're getting to this, these episodes. Believing her feelings are inauthentic. Cat Noir feels the same way about the lessened feelings for Ladybug, so he decides to confront Marinette and Adrian, as Adrian, but he can't bring himself to do it. He transforms again into Cat Noir, and learning that Marinette loves him instead of Adrian, takes her to Andre the Ice Cream Maker. However, Andre believes that Marinette should love Adrian and Cat Noir. Cat Noir should love Ladybug, making Marinette frustrated over society's expectations for her. She's nearly akumatized into Unmasker, but she rejects the Akuma, which instead turns Andre into the Glaciator with the Tiger Miraculous power of Elation. After his defeat, Marinette and Cat Noir affirm their love choices. So yeah, Marinette is now falling for Cat Noir. And that's, like, a really great little arc there. I mean, they've had a lot of stuff in the past together, and I do really like these few episodes where they're kind of in love, but they end up figuring out it can't really work out at the end of the day, because if Marinette is Marinette and she doesn't know Cat Noir's identity, then they can't really fully be together, you know, like, they can't really know each other fully, and therefore they can never truly be totally in love. And it actually goes with what Marinette was saying about how she wanted to know whatever boy she was going after fully in the future. So it kind of does line up with her thing, even though Adrian as Cat Noir is the one saying these things, she also believes that same exact thing. So it's probably best that her and Cat Noir didn't work out. But it is cute. I do like them as a couple for sure. That's definitely that's a great episode for those reasons specifically. And it's like, you know, it's one step closer to Adrian and Marinette being in love, but Marinette's not ready to give Adrian a try until she's tried basically every other combination, like, you know, like, can I be in love with Cat Noir or whatever, like, you know, so we had to get that out of the way, basically. So this leads into also two of the best episodes of the season. Really, really top-notch stuff. So there's transmission and deflagration? Basically, it's this two-part, like, mid-season finale where Marinette and Adrian are so overwhelmed with being Ladybug and Cat Noir, and the fact, like, all the responsibility of that, especially Marinette. And, they can never love each other because of that. Not that they know that, obviously, about each other, but they're so, like, overwhelmed with this responsibility. So Plagg and Tiki decide, hey, we're gonna get a new Ladybug and Cat Noir so that you guys can be in love, you know? And, so they basically renounce themselves to go out and find new holders so that Marinette and Adrian can be in love. So, great concept. I love it. It's great. This is it, right? This is the perfect solution. So, Tiki goes back to Alia, you know, because before she was Scarabella, and that, like, worked out pretty well. So, she trusts Alia, obviously. That's probably the best other Ladybug there could be. And Plagg goes to Zoe, which is the best, because Zoe is the best character. You know, you gotta love Zoe. She's so good. She's so good. We'll talk about her and her episode here in a minute. I'm super excited about that. The later half of this season, these episodes and beyond, I feel like, are just, oh my god. Like, the earlier half is great, too. You know, it's all good. It's all good. It's so much fun to watch. It's such a great season. But the later half of this season, like, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright. So anyway, so yeah, they're out there as Kitty Noir and Scarabella, just, like, saving the day. And there's even this, like, coy line that kind of, like, sets up for Zoe's thing later. Like, they're like, you know, were the previous Ladybug and Cat Noir in love? And they're like, no, not a chance. And then, like, what about you two? You know, they're both girls, obviously. And Kitty, I think Kitty Noir is the one. She's like, oh, not yet, but, you know, don't count it out or something as, like, a possibility. Like, she hints at, like, not yet, basically, you know. So, like, we just met each other kind of thing. So that's kind of fun. Like, you know, that kind of points to where she's at as in her sexuality or whatever. And the whole thing with Marinette later there. So we'll get to that. That's all fun. That's all fun and good. That's a different episode, though. So anyway, yeah, what are the highlights here? What did I miss? Alright, but that's the main part of it. It's just a really fun 2 episodes. The problem is that Gabriel Gress figures out who they are because they're wearing alliance rings, so they have to give back their Miraculouses, basically, which sucks. But also, the villain in the first one is, like, what's-her-face, Nora's, like, boyfriend or whatever, and he's wearing, like, 5 alliance rings, so Gabriel can transfer in, like, a ton of powers, so he gives them just, like, all the friggin' powers, which is great. So he was a pretty formidable first villain for them to fight, but they get it, they got it, so, like, you know, and I'm pretty sure that, like, during all that, Marinette and Adrian, like, because, like, Marinette shuts down Adrian, I remember, in the first part. And, she's like, oh, no, you, like, my feelings have changed, we can never be together, and all this stuff. And that's why Tiki, like, finally, like, gets this idea to, like, be like, oh, well, if she wasn't Ladybug, then she wouldn't have to do it. And so they get, they stop being Ladybug and Cat Noir because Tiki leaves and whatnot. She's like, will I ever see you again? It's like, yeah, of course she'll see Tiki again. Are you a fucking idiot? Like, Alia is gonna be Ladybug. Who else would Tiki trust to be Ladybug, right? Like, for sure. Although I do wonder, is she still the Guardian at that point? Like, how does that work? I know she doesn't have the Miracle Box, but, like, when she got it back, would it be Alia as the Guardian? I don't know. Hard to say. How does that memory thing work with that Guardian? Are we ever going to bring that up again, or is that just, like, a dead concept now? I don't know. So... Right, so then in the second part, he, like, figures out who they are, and, akumatizes Chloe into Soul Destroyer, a variant of Soul Crusher, who turns people into shoes. Monarch paralyzes Alia and Zoe, yeah, this is crazy, before they can transform, and seizes their Miraculouses, and forces Tiki and Plague to unify him. But before they can do so, he sends the Lucky Charm out into the universe, and then, like, so he destroys, Plague destroys the ring, so that Monarch can't, like, make the wish or something, but he still gets Ladybug's power, so he can, like, make a Lucky Charm, I guess. Oh, and he's attempting to restore the Cat Miraculous. Marinette tricks him into using a fake Lucky Charm, then retrieves her Miraculous, and then she reverts the damage. So she has to actually... This is another one of those great episodes where she has to actually be Marinette as a hero. I always love that when she has to be Marinette as a hero. They did it, like, Feast, and, they did it in, like, obviously this episode, there was a season 1 episode where she had to do it too. I think it was Antibug, she had to do it in season 1. That was a good one. Might have been Guitar Villain. I don't remember. It's one with Chloe, so I think it was Antibug, yeah, for sure. So, but I always love that when Marinette has to be the hero without her Miraculous. I think that's always good. So yeah, and then, obviously Tiki and Ladybug get back to their original owners, but, it's all good. Like, we've got the ball rolling with Marinette and Adrian there, so things can start happening finally. Which is great, because this is what we've wanted since season 1, It's resolving all these things that we've wanted the entire show now, except for the identity reveal. That doesn't happen. That's, like, the one big thing. I kind of get it, though. Like, it'll be an interesting thing. Also, she has to tell Adrian about, well, a couple of things about how he's a sentient monster, and then also about, like, Gabriel Agreste, and then also about, like, a couple other, well, that she's Ladybug, obviously, so we got a lot of reveals to do still. Like, Adrian's gonna find out a lot of shit. God, I can't believe about Lila, though. She's crazy. Like, I feel like she's in a lot of these episodes, too, if I remember right. Like, just, like, in the background being evil and a bitch, but, like, she definitely has a big presence in, like, the second half of the season, which we're going to get to in here in a second. Yeah, so episode 12, Perfection. Marinette continues to resist the declaration of love for Adrian. Oh, resist declaring her love for Adrian. Coming to the point that Adrian and Kitty section have to perform a song. Yes, Adrian writes her a song, and it's, like, this beautiful thing. And she doesn't want to get close to Adrian for a reason we'll find out in a couple episodes here. But, like, he writes her this beautiful song, and it's like, oh, it's a really nice and touching scene. I really love that scene, and the whole episode he's just, like, is this the one where, like, everyone's going to Luca with their, like, problems or whatever? Because, like, that happened, or was that last season? I don't remember. There was an episode where, like, everyone's going to Luca with their problems. Or I feel like that's this season, though, right? Or is that one of the upcoming episodes? I can't remember. Anyway. Alia and Kagame try to comfort her, but she rejects their advice, transforming into Ladybug to avoid them. Right, so Marinette's basically, like, trying to be Ladybug as much as possible to avoid having to be Marinette. Like, that's how it goes. Um, and she hasn't, like, she's not answering Kagame's, like, calls or messages because she doesn't want to, like, disappoint her about the whole Adrian situation, because she wants to, like, be with Adrian, but she can't bring herself to be with Adrian. And this is, like, a whole thing where she's trying to tell Adrian that she loves him, but all she can say is, I love Moo, instead of, like, I love you. So, like, but, you know, she's trying. She's trying. She just can't get it out. And it's really tragic, honestly, the reason why, which we'll get to in a second. I keep saying that, but yeah, she gets akumatized, Kagame does. And it's, like, giant cloud monster that just, like, basically can't see anybody or, like, hear anybody, and she just, like, walks around. She can still see, like, objects and stuff, so they, like, make her, like, pictures or something to show her that they care. I thought it was, like, a really good metaphor for, like, depression or, like, maybe even, like, being suicidal, you know, in a sense. Like, in a state where you just kind of shut everyone out, you know? You're in, like, a fog, like a cloud of emotions. And you kind of don't want anybody or want to let anybody in. I feel like that's kind of what Kagame is going through here. Of course, Lila is trying to be friends with Kagame just to, like, I don't know, fuck up shit or whatever, because Lila's a terrible person. But she gives her this checklist of all the things the Marinette's not, like, she's not answering her phone, you know, she says these things, she makes excuses, all this stuff to show that, like, she's not actually friends with Lila, or I'm sorry, with Kagame. And so, like, Lila's obviously trying to, like, ruin Marinette's life or whatever. So she sets it up like Marinette is, like, this manipulative person or whatever, and she's the one who's lying and all this stuff, and she's a terrible person. I hate Lila, but she's a genius too. Like, I don't know, I'm very conflicted on her. She's gonna make a great villain next season for sure. I feel like, anyway. I don't know what that lightning shit was at the end of the season there. Like, what was that all about? Like, so many questions. So many questions. I just want them answered, but, you know, I'm not gonna get them answered till next season, so whatever. Maybe that has to do with the Ladybug and Cat Noir, or Claw Noir, or whatever special, the lightning, some kind of fucking portal to a parallel universe or something. I don't fucking know. Anyway. Basically, in the end, they get Kagame to realize that they love her, you know, and everyone, although they're, like, kind of forgetting her sometimes, they still really care about Kagame. And so it's really a wholesome and nice scene there at the end, I think. And Marinette and her make up at the end, and they were both, like, they have very similar situations. Like, she didn't want to disappoint Kagame, and Kagame, like, didn't want to disappoint Marinette and all of that kind of thing. So, like, so they had these really similar, like, you know, like, grievances, like, with each other and stuff. So, like, they get to a conclusion in the end. They get there, you know, by the end of the episode there, which is nice. And so they're friends, back to being friends again. You know, Kagame kind of gets sidelined a lot. I feel like earlier in this season, and sometimes, you know, like, she just kind of shows up and then isn't there for a while. But, like, I feel like this, again, the end of this season, she really plays a role in things. So that's nice. I like Kagame. She's great. Okay. Migration, episode 13. Oh, here we go. This is where everyone's coming to Luca. So he's acting like a therapist to all of his friends. You know, like, Jagged and Penny, and then, like, you know, Marinette and Adrian, they all come to him with their problems. But there's this whole thing with, like, their contract, like, Kitty Section's contract with Bob Roth there, and he makes him sign a contract where they're basically like, they have to make music for him. But he really only wants Luca to make music because he's like Jagged's kid, so like he knows that he's the most talented one, so he like fires everyone else. And the contract basically makes him like do all of the work for like very little reward. So he akumatizes him into Silencer. Almost re-akumatizes a Silencer. And he was gonna reveal Cat Noir's identity because, you know, Ladybug, he knows Ladybug and Cat Noir's identity, so he could have revealed those to Hawkmoth, but then that's how he breaks the Akuma, because he realizes, oh my god, I know this information. So Bob Roth gets akumatized into Gold Record, I guess, and he basically just like makes everyone sing their innermost music, and so he wants Luca to sing his innermost music. I think this is where Hawkmoth figures out that Luca knows both of Ladybug and Cat Noir's identities. And I'm pretty sure somewhere in this episode is where he tells Ladybug that he knows, and he's like telling her, hey Marinette, I know who you are, and she's not listening, and then he finally like tells her that, and so he leaves Paris with his dad and Petty to like travel the world, and we end up figuring out later on in the season that he actually went to was it like Tibet or whatever, where the miraculous like monk guardian people are, and then he like trained with them in miraculous fu or whatever the fuck that was from like kung fu or furious fu, not kung fu. Kung fu is the episode with the, you know, uncle guy. Anyway, yeah, so pretty good episode. I like this one. I definitely felt for Luca at the end, like having to leave Paris and all of that. Like, I like Luca after, like, especially that he knew Ladybug and Cat Noir's identities. I thought that was really a good angle for his character. I thought it was kind of shitty that they didn't really do anything with it until now, other than ephemeral. But, like, you know, I think it's good that we finally did something with that. Like, they had to touch on that at some point. That's kind of a big deal that he knows both Ladybug and Cat Noir's identities. So yeah. Good episode. I like that one. I mean, that's every episode, right? Except for whatever that one episode is with the freaking food thing. That was so stupid. Duration, the next episode. Episode 14. Marinette and Adrian go on a date to the pool. Alright, here's the one. So, we get Marinette's backstory, and we see the year before she was in love with Kim. You know, the stupid guy who's like the jock or whatever. She was in love with him. She like wants to go on a date with him. I think she asks him out on a date, or he doesn't ask her, but she asks him out on a date or whatever. And So Clean is there, and she's like, oh, you can do better than Kim or whatever. And she's like, what? Why does that matter? Like, he's cute, he's nice, I like this guy, right? So, but Chloe, of course, is a bitch, and she, like, sabotages the whole thing. She, like, goes up to Kim and is like, you should prank Marinette at the pool, like, blah, blah, blah. She whispers in his ear, and then at the pool, he's there, they're having a great time, and then he, like, pulls out a little box, and, like, spiders come out of it, and she's, like, gets so freaked out by this, and she's all traumatized and runs off, and we see her and Adrian go to the pool, and she's all, like, traumatized for some reason. We don't really understand why until we see, like, the flashback. It's cool to see this flashback scene and see how Marinette was before she was Ladybug, before, like, even the Origins episode, you know, see Chloe and her and all that kind of shit go down. So, and then, like, Chloe records it on her phone, but, like, So Clean, like, breaks her phone after that, or whatever. And then there's, like, this really, like, heartbreaking scene there. She's in the locker room with her, and with Marinette, that is. And she's like, I'm never gonna, like, you know, go on a date with a boy again, or, like, try to love a boy, or confess my love to him, until I know everything about him. You know, I know all of his secrets. I know his entire class schedule, all the stuff that she used to do, why she was so stalkery. There is a whole reason for that. They came up with a reason for all of that. I know it's not great that was, you know, like that's still like stalkery behavior, but she had a reason why she needed to really know these people, like fully know everything about them. You know, of course, she doesn't know fully everything about Adrian, but she thinks she knows fully everything about Adrian. And she wants to be like 100% knowledgeable in order to fall in love with somebody, and that's why she has such a hard time now falling in love with people, and especially Adrian, because she doesn't know everything about Adrian, but she can never talk to him. She never used to be like that, you know? She used to be a whole different person until this whole incident with Kim. So she's been traumatized in the past. I thought that was like a really important episode, and it is such an emotional episode. It's a really good episode because it shows all of why Marinette is the way she is. It is like a perfect episode to explain why she is as awkward and shy as she is. Now, do we need that as an episode? I think so. I think that it was a good addition to see this. Yeah, not that you can actually make it out in the background there, but over there, I actually have a ladybug ornament that I got at at work there, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, I think it's important to Marinette's character and her development and like why she is the way that she is, you know? I really enjoyed that episode, and I really thought that was great. Let me see if I'm missing any highlights from that there. Yeah, okay, oh, sorry. And so, you know, of course we have to have an akumatized villain and whatever. So Kim gets akumatized as dark humor, because his whole thing is like, why can't I tell a joke? Why can't I do these pranks, you know? Like, they're not hurting anybody. And Undine's like, are you fucking kidding me? You traumatized Marinette in like, being as, like, shy as she is and whatever. And having all these troubles with, like, boys and whatever. In the end, he does apologize and stuff. So that's, like, the second half of the episode. But I think the first half, the backstory part, is really crucial. That's why I'm going to remember the episode. I'm not going to remember the antics with Kim and all of that. None of that really matters too much, except for, like, there's a scene in a different episode that, like, references back to this, how Gabriel was, like, doing second chance to try and get... He does, like, destroy her Lucky Charm, but she, like, goes and transforms back and then, like, transforms again and then just does it again. So it's, like, not a big deal. But there was, like, a scene in a future episode where Gabriel, like, is on that day and he's, like, using the second chance to, like, try and get a better outcome. But that turns out to be the outcome that they get, and he gets, you know, destroyed in the end, so... So yeah, good episode. Great episode. That's one of the best, like... I don't want to say one of the best Ladybug episodes, but it's great because it gives Marinette these, like, this backstory, you know? I think that's really cool. So then we have intuition. Oh, this is what I was just talking about. Monarch uses the Snake Miraculous of second chance to go back and, like, try to fix that one scene that I was talking about. And at this point, he's, like, really destroyed. He's, like, so down in time. Like, he does not have much time left. So every time he uses second chance, it's very dangerous. And not only tells him you can never use second chance again, but of course, what does he do? He uses second chance again. So, and he uses it a bunch of times in this episode. So, like, there's this whole thing where him and Tomoe are, like, launching, her company, I guess, is, like, launching this spacecraft. I believe Max's mom is the one that's in there. But it's got, like, this AI on board that he's trying to, like, manipulate so that he can akumatize the AI. And he's trying to trick the AI, but, like, it always turns out every time he second chances, like, the AI always ends up figuring it out, and there's, like, no way to get through it. It's like an okay episode. It's pretty good. but not too plot relevant. It kind of only is very plot relevant for the people who are like, why doesn't he always just use second chance to try and like do a bunch of different scenarios? It kind of answers that question, you know, which like he does do that. It just never works out for him because even with a million different ways doesn't mean it's going to work out. You have to be like smart like Luca and able in order to do it. Even Adrian couldn't like get that one time to work with second chance. It was only Luca really knows how to use that power like super well. So, yeah. Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, it's a whole thing. It's not too real. I mean, it does work. Like I said, it's mostly about the Snake Miraculous and like seeing that in action. Alright, so episode 16, Protection. Marinette's friends continue to try to get Adrian to confess. Despite the clumsiness, on the other hand, Adrian and Kagame, his parents are trying to force them together. Right, so like, there's a whole thing, like, Adrian and Kagame are like meant for each other or whatever. Quite literally, like, made for each other. I know, like, Master Fu always says that about, like, Marinette and Adrian, but, like, you know, like, okay, so, like, spoilers for the later episode. Obviously, everybody says spoilers. Kagame is actually also a senti monster. Or, sorry, senti monster. Senti being. As Felix would say, don't call them that. You know, like, it is kind of cruel to say senti monster, but, like, yeah. She's a senti being as well. I called Adrian a senti monster earlier, didn't I? That's kind of cruel. I don't know why I said that. That was mean of me. Anyway, the senti being, Kagame is also one of them. So, like, I think the whole thing is, like, her and Adrian were both made for each other. The story later is kind of confusing, for sure. But at least I heard it in English this time, so we'll talk about that when we friggin' get there. You know, we'll get there when we get there, but, yeah, so, anyway, sorry, not about that. Right, so Adrian continues to have his love for Marinette blossom naturally. They wind up having a date at the former's mansion. But Lila, knowing Gabriel's secret identity... Oh yeah, I guess she figured that out at some point. Small point in a different episode, I guess, that I didn't get around to talking about. Because, like, I'm just reading these things. You know, like, I watched these episodes, like, weeks ago. Like, I don't remember exactly every little detail. She orchestrates Kagame's akumatization. Yeah, did you ever notice that Kagame also gets akumatized like a bazillion times? It's always like a different villain too. Like she's always different people. Like every time anybody else gets akumatized, it's always like that same person basically. She's her post prime and she gets the Turtle Miraculous. What's a sword without a shield? Is what like Hakma says. Oh yeah, and this okay, so this is like this whole thing. This is the start, I believe, the whole thing where it's like, he doesn't want Marinette, Gabriel Agreste doesn't want Adrian to date Marinette, so he's trying to get them separated. So he's trying to get Lila to do it, but she keeps failing to do it. So he's trying to do it himself, and there's even an episode coming up, or maybe it was in this episode. No, it's coming up. Never mind. We'll talk about that in a minute here. So, yeah, anyway. This is kind of the start of that. There's also a part of this episode, or like a later episode, where he, like, twists the ring and like, makes Adrian feel, like, not great about being around Marinette or whatever. So it's like he's, like, intentionally using the Senti Monster ring to, like, you know, do that. Although, he takes his ring from Natalie later on, which, like, I thought that was Adrian's ring, so how is he doing these things with the rings? Like, that always confused me. I guess he has to have Adrian's ring, right? How could he not have Adrian's ring? He has to, because he's controlling him, like, the whole season. different random times. But I thought the whole thing was he gave the ring to Natalie. I don't know. I can't remember anymore. I don't know which ring is whose, and I think Felix's ring is like a different ring that's like got the mucked object. Does like both of them like have half of Adrian's thingy, or is one of them just like a significant heirloom thing? Oh my god. I can't figure out all these Centimonster stuff. It's ridiculous, man. There's like so much to that stuff. I just want all the answers to that. Can we just get all the answers to that too, please? Like, maybe season 6 does need to be the last season. Anyway, right, so this is where Kagame gets, like, tells Lila, basically, like, hey, I know you were lying about Marinette. Like, don't fucking do that. Marinette's cool, and she's not trying to manipulate me. Stop being like that. So, okay, great. I know, I'm sorry. Like, it's hard to remember all the details of these episodes, but I will tell you, there are a few episodes of this season I absolutely remember the details of, for the most part. So this is one of those. Episode 17, Adoration. One of the best episodes of Miraculous Ladybug overall. So good. Such a good episode. We get to see more of Zoe and her character, and like at the beginning there, she's telling her dad like, "Oh, I've got a crush on somebody, and I want to tell them, but it's pointless because they're in love with somebody else." And he's like, you know, or I don't think she says that part to him, but he's like, "Oh, you need to go and tell this person that you're in love with them. Like, you only have a couple weeks left of school. Like, what's the point in hiding it?" And so she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go tell this person anyway." And then so her and Marinette are like planning the school dance or whatever. So they're spending a lot of time together, and Marinette like hears that she's crushing on somebody, and she like gets this idea that it's Adrian or something for some reason. Like she keeps saying, "Oh, this boy that you're in love with," and all this stuff, and like she never like turns that down, but she keeps saying like how they can't really be in love, her and this person, because they're already in love with somebody else. And then Marinette's like, well, maybe this person doesn't want to love anybody, or they want to love 2 people, or all the people. You know, you never know. Like, she's like basically making a case for like, you know, like, you know, what's it called? Like, polyamorous relationships or whatever. You know, but it's just funny that she's saying that, because it's like, you know, she doesn't realize that she's the one that Zoe's in love with. But it's this whole cute episode. If you watch, like, Zoe's interactions with, like, Marinette throughout this season, and, like, actually the last season, too, like, you watch her watch Marinette, like, and say things and help Marinette in these ways, and you just, like, know the whole time that she's in love with Marinette. And it's just, it's so cool to watch, because, like, she's just the best person. Although she's in love with Marinette, she doesn't, like, rarely ever get jealous of Adrian, because she still wants Marinette to be happy and with Adrian. I mean, like, that is the ultimate form of love right there, right? Like, so good. So I think Zoe's, like, a really powerful character, and especially in this episode, I just love her, and I love her crush on Marinette, and it's just a really fun episode of them interacting. And and then there's like this whole storyline too, where Marinette's trying to make this dress, and like Chloe and Lila are trying to set Marinette up to be like seen as this thief for this dress, and Sabrina gets like the power to be invisible again, I believe, and also gets the dog Miraculous so that she can like touch objects to get them to come back to her. So she basically gets all these objects to go into Marinette's bag that like would be used for making her dress, and like you could see them all on her design and whatever. And so it looks like Marinette stole all these things, and then like Zoe jumps in and she's like, "I took all these things for Marinette to make her dress," and all this stuff. And it's like she was getting ready to take the bullet for Chloe, for Marinette there, which is just great. So good, so good. But her and Cat Noir end up proving, Marinette Cat Noir end up proving, well, Ladybug does, that it was an akumatized villain. It was Sabrina as the Vanisher, and that she had the dog Miraculous again. So, yeah, so there's that whole thing. But then later on, she's like, you know, you don't have to stand up for me. Don't do that, because you know you could have got yourself in a lot of trouble there. And she's like, I know you love Adrian. And she's like, Adrian? I don't love Adrian. And then, you know, she's like, but who could it be? And then she's like, somehow she says, like, you know, that she loves Marinette, or she, like, implies that. And then Marinette, like, gets it. And she's like, oh my god, like, I get it. Like, you know, you see, like, the realization on her face. And she's like, oh, I'm so honored, you know, Zoe, that you have these feelings, that you love me, basically. And they hug, and they have this nice moment, and it's like, oh. And then, like, even by the next episode, they're like, they have, like, plans to hang out. They were, like, gonna go see this movie. They did go see this movie, together or whatever. It's like, yeah, just because they aren't able to be in a relationship together doesn't mean they can't, like, be really good friends. And it's just so heartwarming to see such a good, well, first of all, such good lesbian representation, you know? I love the Owl House, I love Lumity, of course, but this is great, you know? I mean, Miraculous Ladybug doing it is great. And we even get a little bit of that later in the season. We got that earlier in the season with the United Heroes, last season, that is. Obviously, Rose and Julika have been doing this since, like, season 1, but, you know, this is, like, eternal. We listened to this whole thing, too. It's great. So, yeah. A lot of good lesbian representation in Ladybug, and I really appreciate that. Always need more of that. You know, of course, we have the gay representation, too, as well, with Mark and Nathaniel there. That's a good one, so... Anyway, so I love Zoe. I love this episode. It's so good. Having her finally, like, actually confess her feelings for Marinette, like, not just having that be a headcanon, like, that, like, people had, or whatever, is like, oh my god. It was so amazing. Like, I didn't know I needed that. Like, I kind of knew I needed that, but I didn't know that's what I wanted out of season 5. Was that Marinette and Adrian would finally fall in love, and then Zoe was also in love with Marinette, and just, like, couldn't tell her. And it kind of reflects also, it's very important on Marinette's part, too, because she's always talking about it through the lens that she can't tell Adrian how she feels. So it all comes together into this thing, and they end up helping each other out. It's so beautiful, and it's so integral to the season. It all works together. Like, if I had to choose, like, a top 10 Ladybug episodes, just because of character interactions, this is a great episode. I don't even care about the villains. Who the fuck even got akumatized in this one? I didn't even care, right? Oh, Vanisher, right, and the dog thing. I already talked about it, and I don't even remember that, because I remember Zoe and Marinette way more than any of that, because it's just so wholesome and pure, and I love it. They are such a cute couple. If my heart wasn't set on Marinette and Adrian, Zoe and Marinette would be the next thing. Adrian can be alone. I don't give a shit. Like, Zoe deserves Marinette. Who would Adrian be with if he couldn't be with, could be with Marinette? I don't know. Not important. He'd be with, fucking anybody else, you know? So, Luca, I guess. Luca doesn't have anybody. Luca and Adrian, right? Yeah, so freaking good. So freaking good. And then she goes and declares her love to Adrian, which is just like the icing on top of the thing. Oh, and then this is where Gabriel interrupts with the whole ring thing before they can actually kiss. Yes. Alright, so motion. I remember this episode came out like super early on in the season. When was this? Like November of 2022 when all these other episodes were coming out in like June of 2023. Like this episode was way earlier than it had any right to be. And so like I remember at the time thinking like, wow, Marinette's like really into Adrian. Like this, they finally resolved all of that. I wonder how that all happened, you know? Oh. So, yeah, this is a good episode. So Adrian and Kagame are invited to this diamond dance thing. It's for the elites, right? And Lila's all butthurt that she's not invited, basically. Marinette wants to go because she wants to see Adrian. But, you know, she was like, oh, I have to go with Zoe to the movies or whatever. And so they go and do that. And then Zoe's like, well, I didn't want to go anyway. You go instead of me so that you can see Adrian. But Adrian's not actually there. It's Felix disguised as Adrian. But he, like, dances with Marinette and stuff and, like, realizes, oh, she, like, realizes, you're not Adrian. Like, you're Felix, basically. He transforms using the Peacock Miraculous into Argos, which is his, like, superhero name. He creates this red moon that, like, erases people. Ladybug tries to stop him, but, like, she can't do anything, basically, so he, like, hides Marinette elsewhere, while he's erasing people. And then, basically, he erases Marinette, or, Ladybug, who's Marinette, obviously. I just use them interchangeably, but, you know. So when he goes to, like, try and figure out where she's at, and, like, he tries to snap her back into reality, he can't snap Marinette back into reality because Ladybug is the one who's transformed. So, like, he keeps, like, Adrian and Kagame there. Basically, he's trying to create a world where their parents aren't, like, controlling him. He's all about freedom, because, you know, he's a senti being. So, yeah, all about freedom. He just wants to be free. He wants Adrian to be free. He wants Kagame to be free, because apparently at this point he's figured out that she's a senti monster. Senti being. I'm sorry. I've called him senti monsters the entire show. Even though he's like, don't call them that. You know, like, he gets really attached to his, like, senti monsters. He doesn't want to, like, you know, snap them out of existence or whatever. Because they're living beings. I kind of get that. I think it's going to be difficult for him to use his powers later without some, like, you know, getting over that or something. But we'll see how that happens in the future, I suppose. Apparently he's going to be part of the team, because we see that at the end of the finale there, or whatever, so I don't know. I don't know how to take that news, but we'll see. We'll see how that works. Yeah, and I guess Kagame, like, stands up to her mom, and of course Adrian's still submissive because he doesn't have any, you know, power over himself. Apparently now this is where action would have came into play, and I already reviewed that, so whatever. So then there's Pretension, which this is an episode that's great, because Marinette goes and stands up to Gabriel, because Adrian can't do it. And I think this is, like, the episode where he's, like, comparing her life to pancakes. He's like, you can take this pancake and have all of this stuff, but, you know, I can make you, like, a fashion designer and do all this stuff for you, but you cannot be with my son Adrian, you know? He's not meant for you, all this, blah, blah, blah. Because, like, him and Tomoe have, like, an agreement, I guess, that Kagame and Adrian are going to end up together. It's like, they made them for each other or something. Like, Tomoe is part of the whole wish or something. Maybe she still is. I have no idea, because the wish is unclear. So we'll get to that in a moment. Anyway. He cruelly refuses her demands for Adrian and her to be together. Felix, on the other hand, wants Kagame, so he goes and like kidnaps her basically as Argos, and there's like this great scene where they're in the Eiffel Tower and like her mom gets akumatized and running around and stuff, and then they're like talking, and she's like, you can't just kidnap people or whatever, and he's like, but I wanted to talk to you and learn more about you, and she's like, your social skills are so inept or whatever. I just thought that was funny. Right, so he gives Matagi goes in, you know, like a more up-powered version of Vakari goes in. The Bee Miraculous, the Horse Miraculous, the Mouse Miraculous, and the Rooster Miraculous, which is kind of the deadly trio right there, you know, it's like, or the quadrology or whatever. And she gives her... Oh, okay. So she gives herself the ability to track scent. So this is another thing, kind of like the Safari episode where they, like, transform back and they realize, like, that's the solution to the problem. I don't know why they did that concept twice, but they did that concept twice, so... you know, that earlier stuff with Marinette and all of that, that's the important part, kind of the episode, I feel like. And, and then, at the end of the episode, he basically says, he does this like really cruel thing where he's like, cherish your memories with Marinette, my son, like, these are the days that you'll like remember or whatever, and he's like, when you're in London modeling for, you know, blah blah blah, like, and he just gets really angry like Adrian does, but he can't like refuse his father because, like, you know, the ring and the senti being kind of thing, but yeah, so biggest dick move ever. He's gonna like send his son away so that he can't be with Marinette, but also it was part of his plan to send his son away. That was like, it's not necessarily just about Marinette, but it is also definitely about Marinette because he wants Adrian to end up with Kagame, but Kagame and Adrian are just friends, so, you know, and Kagame tries to explain this to her mom, but obviously there's some kind of thing, like, I don't know why they need to be together for whatever reason, but like, because that was the deal, but like, the whole point is Adrian, like, needs his freedom. That's, like, his character arc, right? With all this, and he's not free with Kagame, because that's what his parents want. And Kagame is not free with Adrian, because that's what her parents want. But she's free with Felix, and that's how their thing starts. And then he's free with Marinette, and that's how their thing kind of goes, so... It's interesting in that regard, and I like that. Anyway, great episode. Alright, Revelation. Lila continues to con several people into getting her way, including 3 women who all believe that she's their daughter. Yeah, Lila has like 3 moms at this point. Lila's insane. These last like several episodes, it's all about her and her like crazy fucking antics and like her crazy plans to like, even when she's not there, she's like coaching Chloe into being crazy and doing her will and whatnot. It's insane. She's insane. Lila's crazy. She's gonna make a crazy villain next season, I swear. Like, it's gonna be insane. Meanwhile, Gabriel fires Lila from her modeling, yep, like I talked about a few episodes ago, replacing her with Kagame due to her failure to separate Adrian and Marinette. Lila and Chloe successfully run against Marinette as class representative with the most students because she keeps frigging lying to everyone. And she's like, oh, I wasn't here for the election, and like, it's not fair if I wasn't here for the election, and like, I can fix Chloe and stuff. It's like, Chloe is only going along with it so that like, Marinette suffers basically, so that they become the class representatives, which is insane. I don't know how they got away with that. Because everyone thinks that, at this point, Lila's a good person. She then asks Monarch to akumatize her and to hoax her, a variant of Volpina, whose Fox Miraculous powers now allow her to brainwash people into doing brainwash people through social media posts, regardless of how absurd they may be. Marinette recruits Scarabella to accompany Cat Noir while she talks down Hoaxer, who deakumatizes herself, pretending to make peace with Marinette. Yeah, exactly. It's Lila. She ain't gonna make peace with Marinette. Having gained information about Gabriel's past, Lila swears revenge against him. Yeah, so Lila, at this point, during her time as Hoaxer, uses a social media post to get Natalie to go and look up information on Gabriel and his past, and we see a little bit of that, how he used to be basically a nobody, and we've heard about this kind of in several past episodes, but she even takes pictures of, like, the lair with Emily, and, like, the phone where she's got, like, messages from Emily and stuff on there. I guess the fact that he's Hawkmoth, or Monarch, but she already knew that, so... So yeah, but anyway, Lila gets all this information, and she gets all the information from the Grimoire, too. She actually somehow makes off with, these, like, robot defense bots or whatever. But, like, those things don't work anymore, right? So what's the whole deal with the laptop? I guess it's just, like, got more of Gabriel's information on there or something? Or Tomoe's information? Ooh, okay. That's probably what it is, right? There's Tomoe's information on the laptop that she takes in the last episodes there. So is that where we're going with her character? She's gonna, like, take on Tomoe or something? I don't know. I don't know what her motivation is. I still don't know what all Lila's about. I mean, she's obviously trying to take down Marinette. She's gonna be, like, these different identities later because her hair wasn't even fucking real. Was that this episode? I think that's next episode. We find that out. Confrontation. Yeah. Marinette's class is tasked to submit forms indicating their career path. So they're all trying to, like, you know, basically choose their career path. They write down what they want to do in the future. Adrian's like, I don't know what I want to do in the future. And then he writes like a letter, and he's like, sorry, I don't know what I want to do in the future, but I know I want to do it with Marinette. And I hope that's my future, and I hope that is what I can, like, accomplish, basically, or whatever. So, yeah. Because he doesn't want to go to London. He doesn't tell Marinette about this until later. But, you know. We get there in the end. Let's see. Alright. Marinette collects the forms and forms for Chloe and Lila, who falsify them. Yeah, that's what and then... So she like basically puts all of the opposites of whatever these people are wanting to do on their forms, so that they get, like, the worst jobs for themselves. And she even, like, does a thing where, like, she writes on the Julica one, she's like, wants to repeat the grade. Like, why would you put that on your thing? But anyway, like, because of her speech thing, she wants to repeat the grade. She's just like an evil bitch, Lila. You know that, like, obviously, but, like, she is so beyond, even, like, Gabriel at a lot of points, like, in terms of just evil, like, purely attacking very specific people, like, oh, it's so bad. So she gets akumatized, Julica does, into Reflecta, and she gets the tiger Miraculous Ladybug. She's like, does Hawkmoth know she's, like, you know, the tiger, or whatever. But, she gets deakumatized, and then Marinette and a remorseful Sabrina expose the plot of Lila, revealing her true nature to the class. The teachers intend to expel the two girls, but Chloe uses her father's influence to prevent it. Mr. Damocles, ashamed of his actions, is almost akumatized, but finally, the friggin' charms come into play, and, like, everyone, like, gathers around him and does this, like, you know, thing, and he's like, you know, they're all like, you can get through it, Mr. Damocles, don't, you know, like, don't get akumatized, you got this, like, all these positive vibes, and it actually, like, makes a shield from the charm that, like, destroys, like, not destroys, but purifies the Akuma and sends it, like, back, you know? Like, whoa, the lucky, stupid little charm things that she gives to everyone that, like, break with the Mega Akumas actually have a friggin' purpose, you know? So, that's cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Very cool. Right, so Lila gets expelled. But she takes on a different identity as Cerise at a different school, which is just so stupid. And there's the infamous scene. I don't know why it blows me away every time she, like, takes the wig off and throws it in the trash, and I'm just like, what? Her hair wasn't real? Oh my god. Like, of course she would lie about even that. Like, even her hair wasn't real. Like, what the fuck, Lila? I don't know. Why don't you call yourself Lila, too, by the way? Or is Lila her real name? Cerise her real name? Nobody knows. Nobody will ever know. Why does she have 3 moms? I don't fucking know. None of this is answered. Collusion. Lila, as Cerise, manipulates Chloe into getting Miss Bustier fired by Miss Mendeleev, who becomes active principal. Mayor Andre Bourgeois refuses Gabriel's offer for him and Tomoe to replace the Parisian workforce with robots. Yeah, so, like, Gabriel, like, makes up this, like, doctored... And anyway, like, they have this conversation about, like, oh my god, remember the past, it was so much better, blah, blah, blah. Remember how I used to, like, make movies, and, you know, we weren't all rich back then, and everything was better. And he takes all of that and doctors the footage of that to, like, say, like, how, like, he wants to create a police force and turn the school into a prison and all of this stuff. All the opposite of the stuff he was actually saying. So, like, people turn against him and think that he's, like, evil and corrupt or whatever. And, so he ends up getting akumatized, right, I believe? Isn't this... Yeah, I believe, yeah. Or no, Miss Bustier ends up getting akumatized because, I wonder if, like, maybe that was Gabriel's intention, was for him to get akumatized, but she ends up getting akumatized. She like, fights it off earlier, but then she wants to be a revolutionary so that she can, like, take down the mayor. Maybe that was his plan, so that she could take down the mayor because he doesn't want to, but in the video he says that he wants to build, like, a police force of robots and stuff and, like, take over and destroy the school and stuff. So she's like, I've got to do something about this, you know, for the children, basically. Like, it's always noble intentions with her, you know, it's never really that bad of intentions, so that's cool. I don't think she realized you could just... Anyway, yeah. And eventually she does succeed in overthrowing Andre, but, like, at the same token, I guess she comes in at the right time to see, because, like, she and Ladybug and Cat Noir team up with him because they must think that he's also corrupt or whatever, but he's not actually corrupt. He just wants to quit being the mayor because that was the whole thing. He did that to impress Audrey, you know, his wife there, but he doesn't really care about that anymore, so he just wants to stop being the mayor. He wants to go back to making movies and whatnot, follow his dream, and he gets to do that, which is nice. But then it leaves the spot of mayor open, and somehow Chloe ends up taking over temporarily as the mayor. I think that's the next episode, or is that... I don't remember if that was this episode or what, but... She, like, talks her way into it. again, this villain has the pig miraculous. Like, I don't know how that really helps her, but anyway. So okay, that's the whole thing. Like, throughout these last few episodes here, Chloe has like a little earpiece in and she's like talking to Lila or Cerise or whatever. I'm just gonna call her Lila because, you know, she's Lila the whole time, and like she's just repeating what Lila's saying, basically. And Lila's like manipulating everyone, and like somehow this gets Chloe to be the mayor, because like her dad was the mayor, so now she's the mayor. I don't know. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but and she keeps saying democracy wrong. But she like talks her way into being the mayor for a couple of episodes there, so basically takes over with Lila's like it's like she's just being a puppet for Lila, basically. So yeah. Right, and then so she outlaws Monarch, Ladybug, and Cat Noir. And that's the end of the episode. So then the next episode, Revolution, it's the last day of school. Cerise, or Lila, influences Chloe into accepting Monarch's deal to become the akumatized Queen Mayor. So like Monarch comes out of nowhere, you know, with his like voyage thing and offers her all the powers that she wants, as long as like, because nobody will know, she's just gonna get akumatized into still looking like Chloe or whatever, so that nobody knows that she's akumatized. She can like turn her robots invisible, and they have the venom power. They have the power to like send people to this like detention, she calls it. So like that's the whole episode, is she just keeps like sending people to this like other void detention or whatever that they can't break out of, and they're all just like running around in there, and the city like empties out until like Adrian's like the only one left. And so it's like, yeah, it's like crazy. I don't really know what her plan was there, but like, yeah. It's bad, you know, because like Chloe's got a hold on Paris. Like, it's crazy. Like, I never thought we'd get here to where Chloe was the mayor of Paris. How do we get to that point? Like, it's just crazy. But they all break out of the detention, but she captures Ladybug and Cat Noir in like the turtle shell things, but they're invulnerable because she has that power of like the ox or whatever around the shells. So they're like actually, you know, like indestructible. So like Cat Noir tries to cataclysm, Marinette does her lucky charm. It doesn't help. They're about to transform back, and they are starting to transform back, and like really, Marinette and Adrian, come on, you didn't see each other's like clothes or whatever. Who the fuck else wears those clothes? Like, they're not looking for that, obviously, but Jesus Christ, come on, you guys. You didn't really notice it was Marinette and that was Adrian. Come on now. So anyway, they actually like force themselves, also through the Parisians like standing up for them, like the resistance. This is where it kind of comes back into play. And they've been a thing throughout the episodes or whatever, but you know, they come back and they're like fighting, and you're like, oh heck yeah. And then it's like Ladybug and Cat Noir like get inspired by that, and they're like, well, they're inspired by the fact that they don't want to reveal their secret identities to everyone, you know, especially Lila or whatever, and Chloe and whatnot. So they just like reverse it, and they just like have learned the power to not transform back. And like Hawkmoth's like asking Miru, he's like, what the hell? I thought I was the only one who could do this, you know, like, you know, that's supposed to be only for adults. And like, I don't know, I guess they grew up, is like what Miru said. So like, guess they're grown-ups now, and they're like 14 or whatever. They haven't had any birthdays since, they're still like 14, right? I mean, this all takes place over the course of like a year. We established that like last season, right? So, it is the end of the school year, so. Yeah, so that's cool, and that's a big change. So they can use Lucky Charm and like Cataclysm as many times as they want now, so that's interesting. Um, sorry, I'm trying to read this over to see if any of this means anything. So, and then, like, at the end of the episode, they're like, it's kind of like, what's her face? Miss Bustier is gonna take over as the mayor, if she's elected in. I don't, was there anybody who ran against her? She becomes the mayor, by the way. I don't know if anybody ran against her, like, who's gonna run against her, like, fucking Dark Blade or something, like that guy, you know, like, no, I guess not. But during all this chaos, also, Lila gets her hands on, like, the red laptop thing from Tomoe that, like, was in charge of the robots, but isn't, like, anymore. It's just, like, I don't know, for data or something. I don't know why she has that. Anyway, it's important, I suppose. I guess because it can control other things, maybe, that Tomoe has. I have no idea. Oh, yeah, and then the most important part of the episode is that Adrian, at the end, like, has to leave for London. So there's a whole great scene at the end where, like, he's, like, has to pack, and then he's, like, on the plane, and then, like, he, like, calls Marinette in the... Or, no, he calls Marinette in the car on the way to the plane. And it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't tell you I have to go to London and, like, I'm not going to be able to see you again, you know, kind of thing. So she, like, rushes over there on her bike and, like, breaks past security and all of this stuff. And they're, like, they have, like, this epic moment where she's, like, yell, Adrian! Like, you know, he, like, and the gorilla's like, go see your girl, you know, basically. And it's like, oh, gorilla. And then it's like, he runs down the stairs and she, like, runs up to him and they, like, meet midway and they, like, oh, they hug and they, like, kiss for the first time, and it's just, like, a magical moment, and they, you know, so good. And then they're, like, literally, Gabriel's like, tear her off of, you know, like, tear them apart, and, like, he's saying this to, like, an airport employee or whatever, and, like, the guy, like, pulls, and the gorilla's, like, pulling, and they're just, like, oh, they're just, like, inseparable, and it's such a nice little moment, you know, their first kiss, you know, it's so great. I mean, they have kissed before, but, you know, they don't know about that, so, but yeah, so it's really nice. Really good, really good. Really good episode. Good episode. But Marinette's really beat up after that in the next episode of that. So, right, distraught over arriving in London, Adrian transforms into Astro Cat and plans to reveal his identity to Marinette. At the same time, Marinette leaves for the end of year party and follows Felix, disguised as Adrian, who accompanies Kagame, who are both dating and aware of Ladybug's identity. Yeah, because Kagame, like, figured out Ladybug's identity in, like, the episode where Luca's, like, helping everyone or whatever. That one, like, with Luca. She, like, caught Marinette. Or maybe it wasn't that one. It was, whatever one where she was getting rejected all the time. No, yeah, that was it. Sorry, it was a different episode. The one where she turns into the big monster or whatever. So she knows Ladybug's identity, you know. And she, like, reveals this to Felix there and whatnot. So that's interesting. Like, this is a great episode because we finally get some confirmation on this whole, like, senti being thing. Like we wanted this for, like, forever. Like, it was a big fan theory, and it wasn't even a theory as of, like, this season and, like, even the previous season. It was so freaking obvious that was what was going on. Like, it was so obvious, you know, like, there's so many times when he was, like, twisting the ring, and it's like, what does all that mean? And what's going on here? You know, it's so obvious that he's, like, a senti being, like, Adrian, but, like, a lot of speculation that Felix was, obviously, also, and then Kagame was not a very speculated on one, but she definitely also is, and there was a lot of hints to that in this season as well, with the ring and like all of that, and they're like made for each other and all this kind of thing. So interesting. But anyway, sorry. So yeah, like Marinette's at this dance and she's like seeing Adrian everywhere, and obviously Adrian just left and she's really sad about that. So she's like trying to run after him, which it's actually just Felix, obviously. So, but she leads him to the school, and then Felix uses a senti being to play out the timeline, or like help play out this, like they put on a play, like Felix and Kagame put on a play for Marinette about like all of these, but they use the senti being to, like Marinette is like there, she's like on the ground, like weeping or whatever, and somehow they like incept this into her head or something, like get her to dream this somehow. I don't really know how the fuck that works. Anyway, but she's like sitting there watching them act this out. And the only reason I say it's a dream is because like as soon as it's over, she like wakes up, and it's weird. It's a weird thing. Anyway, we get to finally figure out like this whole history, like Emily and Amelie were like the daughters of like this queen and king, so they're like princesses or something, and maybe this is all just like a metaphorical stuff, but neither of them could have babies. They were both like cursed to not have babies. One, you know, Emily married the tailor, they keep calling him, and they even like directly spell out for Marinette that the tailor is like the one that Felix went to give the miracle box to. So at this point she has to know that Gabriel Agreste is Hawkmoth or like Monarch or whatever. I don't know if she knows that, like, or she must know that, right? But also in the next episode it doesn't seem like she does know that. She only goes over to Adrian's house so that she can talk with Natalie to see how to free Adrian. So, really, Marinette, you didn't get that this was, like, Monarch? They spelled it out for you. But anyway, the big, like, reveal in here is that, about the whole Senti monster thing, and the fact that they know that Marinette is Ladybug, which she kind of underreacts to, honestly, in my opinion. She did get a lot of information there, but, like, Usually that's kind of a big deal with her, people finding out that she's Ladybug. But anyway, lots of people know now, apparently, so. Right, and Gabriel comatizes himself into Night Tormentor. So he basically, like, puts out these nightmares. The whole point of that is, like, and he fights Cat Noir. He has, like, this epic fight with Cat Noir, and they're like, well, if I was your father, if I was your son, it's like, you know, go back and forth about that. It's like, you are your father, and something, like, you don't know this, but it's true. Like, and he basically, like, gives him a nightmare about, like, him being Cat Blanc or whatever. Like, in that future where he's, like, destroyed everything. That's his nightmare. He has the power to give people, like, their worst nightmares, and, he uses this in the next 2 episodes to kind of, like, force people to put on alliance rings so that he can, like, brainwash them, essentially. Because then at that point he can turn them into, like, senti monsters. I mean, not senti monsters, like, akumatized people. When I say senti monsters. So, which we'll talk about here in just a second. So, anyway, right, it's all part of his plan, Operation Perfect Alliance. So yeah, final 2 episodes. We have Confirmation and Recreation. So the first one, Confirmation. The Final Day, Part 1. To initiate Operation Perfect Alliance, Gabriel reacclimatizes himself in Night Tormentor and spreads nightmares all over the world. He and Tomoe then release the Alliance app that shows people their desires in order to pacify them. Adrian and Kagame are reluctant to download the app, but fearing for their privacy, Adrian asks Plague to give his Miraculous back to Ladybug. So yeah, he's kind of stuck in this room. They like put them in London in these like secret rooms or whatever, so that they wouldn't be in danger when this this whole thing went off. But like he doesn't know his son is Cat Noir, so like he doesn't know that he wouldn't be able to get the Cat Noir ring if Adrian hadn't like sent the ring out of that building there. So like that was kind of stupid of, but he didn't know that. So like, you know, that wasn't part of the plan. So basically, he gets everyone, like I said, into these like calm states, because he's like had everyone in these states of nightmares, and they like can't function normally without, you know, like getting like headaches and seeing these nightmares like all the time. So the Alliance Ring gives you these like relaxation things, and then like through that he can like akumatize everyone. Like literally everyone in the world wearing an Alliance Ring, he gets akumatized. So this is his plan, is to just send basically everyone in the world after Ladybug and Cat Noir, which pretty brilliant plan. Like that's great. I mean, and what's cool is they can all kind of track Ladybug and Cat Noir through Tomoe's like technology or whatever, and he ends up figuring out that Ladybug is in his house, and they can't get a read on Cat Noir because obviously Adrian doesn't have his ring and he's not transformed into Cat Noir yet. Kind of a shitty thing that they can only track Ladybug and Cat Noir and not Merida and Adrian. Obviously they don't know Merida and Adrian are Ladybug and Cat Noir, but I'm just saying, like, you know, like, it sucks, because then if they transform back, then, like, no big deal, you know, like, then you can't find them. But he knows that Ladybug is in his house by the end of the episode, which is kind of a scary thing. So he's, like, walking around, like, looking for her at the beginning of the next episode, but let's see if I missed anything. She's currently at Gabriel's house, where she discovers Gabriel is Monarch. Yeah, okay, so, like, she's hiding, and then she sees Gabriel, like, untransformed when he's talking to Natalie. And she has, like, a talk with Natalie about how Emily didn't want this and all this stuff, and, like, basically, like, everyone says that Natalie dies, but, like, that's not my interpretation of that scene. Like, she doesn't die. She's on the brink of dying, yeah, for sure, but, like, she is as dead as, like, Gabriel was dead until he made the wish, you know, like what I'm saying, like, before that. So, I mean, like, can we just take a second and, like, be astounded by the fact that we're here? Like, she's inside of the Monarch's house. She knows he's Monarch. That's a crazy reveal right there. She knows Natalie was Mayura. I mean, she already knew he was Monarch, like, in Season 2, but she didn't do anything with that information. And then she's like, no, he can't possibly be Monarch, because he akumatized. He was akumatized, or whatever. Shut up, Merida. Get out of here. Anyway, so, like, that's already crazy enough, like, that this is happening. Oh, but it gets crazier. So, right. And then Tomoe interrupts everyone's alliances feed, plays propaganda. Oh, saying that Ladybug and Cat Noir captured Adrian and Kagame. So this makes everyone, you know, basically hate Ladybug and Cat Noir and want to, like, capture them so that they can get Adrian and Kagame, like, released. Adrian and Kagame are, like, the new face of the alliance. I know I talked about that earlier, how, like, Lila was and then she wasn't. And that made her kind of really, like, pissed off. But then Adrian and Kagame are, and they're, like, in love or whatever, even though they're not in love. Like, it's so stupid. But, yeah, whatever. It's stupid that they, like, her parents, like, Kagame's mom and then like Adrian's dad like want them to be together so bad. I don't know why that's a thing. Like, did I miss something there? Like, is it just like oh, our families are powerful and they need to be together thing because they're sentient beings, they were made for each other? Like, what's the deal there? Is there gonna be some kind of crazy something special? It's all about control, right? I know that. Like, that's the whole idea, is that we're gonna control our kids' entire lives, right? And they break free of that, which is great. I don't know if I talked about Kagame and Felix's relationship. I really like that. I thought that was cute, how they're like, he lets her be free. And that's like kind of what Adrian says at the end of the second episode here. It's like, you know, I'm free when I'm with you, Marinette. She like gives him the rings or whatever. Makes him put on the rings anyway. Apparently Ladybug gave him the rings. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway. Everyone gets akumatized that's wearing a ring and is like using the app. Except for Alia, who knows that it's a lie that Ladybug and Cat Noir would, like, do that. So then she, like, breaks everyone, all of her friends out, except for Ivan, who gets, like, miraculized or whatever, like, the akumatized form, just like everyone else. And so they have to, like, fight him, I think, in the next episode to, like, take his ring off. And then that's how we figure it out, like, we as an audience figure it out, like, oh, the ring. I mean, we knew about the ring, but, like, I guess that's how they figure it out in the show. Is like, oh, you take off the ring, you break it, it'll break the spell of the technology that's, like, you know, got you all phased in or whatever. It is kind of like a spell. It'll break the magic of the Kumtai stuff. So yeah, so Ladybug as Marinette is there in the house, and she, like, hides, and Plague shows up with the ring, because, like, Adrian, like, got, you know, he can't come because he's stuck in that room or whatever to, like, be there with Marinette in order to, you know, in order to fight Gabriel Agreste, Monarch, which is interesting because that means that the finale is all Marinette, you know? It's just Ladybug who goes and takes on Monarch in the end. Like, there is no Cat Noir. He did have his moments in a few episodes before where he fought Monarch and all of that, but in the undoing of Monarch, we never really probably thought that it was just going to be Ladybug doing it. I mean, it's Ladybug and Cat Noir, right? They've always fought together to take down Monarch. So we probably thought they were going to do it together. I mean, like, there was, like, Ephemeral where they do it together, or was that, like, Cat Blanc where they went in there and, like, tracked him down together or whatever? I think that was Cat Blanc where they did that. And he gets akumatized there, I believe. So, anyway, so it's just interesting that he didn't. It's so that they can, like, not have him learn about his mom and all of that stuff, and, like, Gabriel Agreste, and they can spin this yarn that Gabriel Agreste was, like, this hero, you know, instead of, like, a villain. Which is definitely going to have to be undone at some point, and Lila's probably going to be the one to, like, tell him finally, you know, or something, and that'll probably break him at some point. I don't know. That'll probably get him akumatized. That'll be a crazy episode. So, but yeah, so, like, Gabriel finds her at the end there, and, like, he's like, Marinette du Pen Cheng, you know, of course you were the one, like, you know, who was Ladybug this whole time, and I almost akumatized you several times. And she's like, almost. And he's like, she, like, uses both the Ladybug and the Cat Miraculouses to be Bug Noir. And then that's where the episode ends, is, like, after we see her transform into that. So, so then Recreation starts up, like her fighting him, you know, like her fighting Monarch for a little bit there. And then all around the world, citizens, superheroes. So like all of the superheroes, like the United heroes, like the Shanghai hero, and everyone we've seen like thus far, like even her uncle and all of that, like they're all just like fighting off these like akumatized, you know, villains, like not villains, but you know, like these they're all the same. They all kind of look like blank people, like the Spot or something, you know, like that kind of, nothing really to them, but they're all fighting these off, and you know, alone they're not doing a great job, but you know, we see them fight back, and then eventually like, and Luca and Penny and Jagged and, you know, Master Suhan or whatever, they're all there fighting him off, and eventually they all get warped back to Paris to fight, I believe by Alex. I mean, at least Luca and them get pushed over by Alex, so but yeah, but it's kind of an epic moment, because it's like, you know, we see all of these heroes that like we barely see outside of like the specials and stuff. I don't think outside of the specials we've really seen them, you know, and they all kind of unite there in Paris. It's like a Metal Gear Solid 4 kind of moment where it's like, you know, you get to see all the heroes come back, and like that's why this is such like a great finale, not just to season 5, but just like could have been the finale to the show if they hadn't like set up a whole bunch of stuff to like follow up with. Like, you know, this could have made for a really good finale. So yeah, so they're all fighting off. It's cool to see that, was my point. They're all fighting off like these guys there in Paris. And then we see at the Agrest Mansion still, like, Marinette is like, you know, keeping up basically with him, and actually I think she's like kind of overpowering him, but eventually, you know, they kind of are at a stalemate, and then she like cataclysms the floor, so they like fall down into the dungeon, like with Emily and all of that, the dead wife garden, as it's called, you know. They're like fighting down there, and they're like talking about the wish and whatever, and she's like, you know, you don't need to make this wish, and she's like, there's nothing that could be worth that, and he's like, oh, don't you think so? And then he like reveals that Emily's there, and she's like, what? You know, like, so it's like we're really getting to the crux of all this. Is like, oh my god, like she knows about the dead wife garden and Emily and all of that, and she keeps trying to talk him down, like, you know, if you do this, there'll be like a consequence, and like, at first she thinks that he's like just trying to, I don't know, like recreate the world with a bunch of crazy differences or like all this stuff, but like honestly we don't know what he wished for. But like at the same token, it's like I don't know. It's crazy because there's so many unanswered questions. I just want answers. Is it Emily? Is it Amelie? I don't know. We'll talk about that in a second here. They're having this fight down there, but eventually he kind of crumbles to the ground, and he's listening to her talk, and then she even detransforms, and she's like just talking as Marinette. She's like, think about what your son would want. He doesn't, you know, he needs, we can figure this out, like we'll do a human solution to this. And at one point he's like, okay, you make the wish then, like you always come with crazy solutions to things. And she's like, no, I'm not gonna make the wish, we're gonna figure this out in a different way, and you know, so that Adrian can be safe and you can, you know, be safe and stuff. And eventually, you know, he plays the act like, oh, you know, like I've changed and your words have like really spoken to me, and it's like a really great scene. Not only is like the action great in this episode, but like the just like the fighting between them is great. And then like at this point they're just talking, and it's like a really powerful moment because you think he's like changing, having a change of heart, and then all of a sudden he like venoms her, as Marinette, because, like, she let her guard down, basically, and he takes the earrings and the ring, and he, like, unifies Plague, and he's like, reveal yourself, Plague, and it's, like, this, like, giant Plague, and reveal yourself, Tiki, and she, like, reveals herself, and then he's like, apparently he knows who Gimme is, like, I don't know how he knows that, but he knows that, so, like, maybe because of the grimoire, I guess because of the grimoire, because there's that page where it shows about the wish or whatever, and he's like, Gimme, reveal yourself, and then, like, also the thing's name is Gimme, and it grants a wish, like, that's kind of funny. So anyway, it's like, giant being shows up, this, like, giant godlike being shows up, and it's, like, talking about, like, oh, what gear is it? Like, you know, what do you have to complain about now? Like, humans always complain, and he's like, I don't have to, I'm not complaining, I just have one wish, and Gimme's like, okay, well, what's the wish then? And he's like, read my heart, and then she's like, what's the sacrifice? And he's like, read my soul. So, what does that mean? You know, we don't know. We don't know what the wish was. But after that, a big white spectrum ball goes throughout the world and in the universe, and we see the consequences of that, I suppose, or not the consequences, the good parts of that. I mean, consequences in a way, but the good parts of it. Everyone's there all together at the Agrest mansion. Gabriel's not there, but he's got a statue erected to him, like, and they're talking about how, you know, he was like, that's what he said. He like sets down all the miraculous rings, and he's like, just let Adrian believe that I was a hero, and I don't let him know about, like, my nefarious deeds and, like, all of that. So now she has to keep the secret of that, like, which is crazy. I mean, I don't know how long she's going to keep that secret, but probably till the end of season 6 or 7, I'm sure. Hopefully not too long. You know, honestly, I would be okay with that as long as they do the identity reveal soon. That has to happen soon. It's just getting tiring. We gotta see that at some point here. Anyway, so we see the aftermath of that. Everyone's having a good time. It's summer, you know, summer vacation or whatever. Miss Bustier gets, like, she's the mayor of Paris now. She's getting interviewed. She's got, like, her little baby there, you know, because she was pregnant or whatever. Oh, yeah, she was, her girlfriend. She has, like, a wife or whatever, so that's another lesbian representation there. And anyway, so then after that, we see briefly, and this is the contention, so we see briefly Natalie's there and Emily's there, or Amelie. One of them is there. We don't know which one it is. Wouldn't it have been great if they were just both there, so we'd have to speculate on this? Because when Gabriel made the wish, he floated up, and, like, Emily floated up, and they were, like, together, and he was, like, hugging her. So, here's the contention. People say that because that's what happened, it's meant to imply that Emily and Gabriel, because Emily didn't want to get brought back. So, it's meant to imply that Gabriel wished that the Natalie's damage would be undone in this scenario. And then, so, him and Emily would float up together. They would have one last moment together, and that's what he wanted all along, was to be with his wife there for one last time. And then they would, like, go on to the afterlife or whatever together. But, so in that scenario, that would be Amelie, right? Because, like, Felix is there at the thing, So, if Felix is there, people are saying, like, Amelie obviously was there, but, like, that doesn't necessarily mean that it was Amelie. Like, that's a good point that it could be her, because they look so similar or whatever. But, and because Emily was there, like, spiraling with Gabriel as the wish was being made. And Gabriel's gone, so, like, she would be gone. Plausible theory, but also, I don't like that. He worked so hard to make this wish. Why would he not have the wish, like, why would the wish not be, as a lot of people have pointed out, that all the peacock damage was undone, right? So in this case, that would be Natalie's damage, because she used the damaged peacock, and Emily's damage, because she used the damaged peacock. That would all be undone. All the damage from that, like, that it did on people would be undone. In the sense that, like, so, like, Natalie and Emily are right, and then he would take on that damage. But then people are saying, like, what's the other person? Because if you're going to do that, you would need two people rather than just one person. So it doesn't make as much sense, but I always interpreted that had to be it, right? That's gotta be Emily. But then that's where my theory falls apart, because then wouldn't that mean it's Emily? God damn it, I just hate it. I hate it. I just want to know. Can I just know, please? I mean, there's like, in 2 days, if I don't know, I'm gonna be really angry, so... So anyway, either Emily or Amelie is there with Natalie, so at least Natalie will have somebody nice to be with. Although, if you think about it, if the damage to the peacock... Well, we don't know that Felix's dad necessarily died because of the damaged peacock miraculous. But if he did, he might also be back now. And that's another thing people have said. I don't know if you could do 3 lives for 1, though. Like, that seems like an inconsistent trade. Nobody else is really missing at that point. But you're basically trading your life as Gabriel, like Gabriel's life. Oh, how about this? Okay, I don't like this, but what about this? Alright, so, because if it was Emily and Gabriel who, you know, he sacrificed, essentially, that would bring back Felix and Natalie, and then it could be Amelie, or Felix's dad, obviously, and, Natalie, because then that would make the 2 users of the damaged Peacock Miraculous come back. But then it's like, then he would have, then that rule doesn't really apply, because, you know, because it's like Emily was also the damaged Peacock Miraculous. I don't know. I'm so confused and flustered, and I just want this to. I want answers. Can we just, like, start a campaign on Twitter or something? X, I guess it is now, or Facebook or something. Let's just all tweet at Thomas Astruck and what's his face, Jeremy Zag, to figure this out. I haven't seen the movie yet. I forgot about that. I still have to watch the movie. That'll probably be the next review, and then the Ladybug and Claw Noir will be the one after that or something. Anyway, so I think that's it. Oh, and then we see Lila. She's like enrolling to the new school. Miss Bustier made like this new school where it's like there is no grades and stuff. You just kind of go there and hang out and like cultivate your talents and whatnot. I mean, it's an interesting idea. So we'll see how that all works out next year. I meant like the next school year, but like literally we will see how that works out next year within the show, which it comes out next year, late next year, so. Oh my god. Yeah, and that's it. Oh, Lila gets like zapped by the electricity thing or whatever, or is chased by. I don't know what the fuck that is. It's like the technology ghost from Scooby Doo and the Cyber Chase or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. That was a stupid reference. Anyway, I'm tired. I hope I did this justice. I mean, I love season 5. Season 5 was so fucking good. There's so like, sorry the hype level is a little bit low at the end here. It's like I'm just I went through this whole thing. It's like 2.5 hours into this thing, so we made a whole movie about season 5 of Miraculous Ladybug. It's so fucking good though. I think I at least got my hype across during like the adoration episode. It's always shipping where the hype comes in. Oh, and then at the end, I forgot to mention this. So like I said the thing about the Adrian Freedom thing, and then like she gives him the rings, Marinette does, and then they like kiss, and he's like, I love you, and she's like, I love you, and so it's like, ah, it's a nice moment, you know, it's real good. It's real good. I can't wait to see more of them. And then it like cut it like stops on like a art rendered frame of them sitting there together. It's like it would be the perfect picturesque ending to all of this. I forgot to mention earlier too, Lila, like when they're fighting, she like is approaching the mansion, and then like I think at one point you see her like, well, no, like Marinette's talking about oh, yeah, forgot about that, too. Marinette goes and gives out the Miraculouses to everyone, and she's talking about how, she doesn't want to be responsible for all of them anymore. Like, nobody should ever be able to just steal the Miracle Box and then, like, have all the Miraculouses. Like, that shouldn't happen, so she's gonna entrust them to everyone else. Dangerous philosophy. I mean, you do kind of have to take down everyone, but, like, come on, how hard is it to actually take down Kim? And, like, Luca would be a formidable opponent, but, like, I feel like one by one, they're a little bit less solid, you know? I mean, like, what are you really gonna do with some of those powers? What if like, the new, like Lila or somebody goes to steal, like, Rose's Miraculous? You really think she's gonna be able to, like, do something to prevent that? Like, I don't know, they're gonna have to have, like, a text chat or something, like, you know, like, new Hawkmoth, Lila is like, fucking coming after my Miraculous, help me, Ladybug, or some shit. I don't fucking know. How's it gonna work? We'll find out next season. Yeah, so there's, like, an epic shot with, like, all the heroes in it. That's pretty cool. So they all have their Miraculouses now. That's pretty cool. What was I saying? Oh yeah, because they're mentioning in one of those scenes, like, where Marinette's like, I looked all over. I even turned into Aqua Bug and, like, went and, like, swam around and tried to find the Butterfly Miraculous. Like, it like, fell off of Gabriel at one point, and she, like, knocked it off of Gabriel, and it, like, went off the ledge into the water somewhere. But it was gone, obviously implying that Lila has it, and then you see that later. But some kind of lightning thing comes after her, so I mean, I don't know what that's all about. You and me both. We're gonna have to wait till season 6 to figure out what the fuck is going on here. Is it Tomoe? Is it, like, Gimme? I don't fucking know, dude. I have no fucking clue. Is it Nuru? Darkwing's Rise? I have no idea. So, here we are. The end of Ladybug. Season 5. Like, top-notch season. Like, this might... I mean, oh my god. It's hard to say it's not just the best season of Ladybug. I definitely think it's not even really within contest that it is just the most definitively best season of Ladybug. There's so many good episodes. in this season that, like, are so significant to the storyline of the Ladybug. Like, especially the Monarch, the Hawkmoth saga of Ladybug. Like, he won. He finally got to make the wish. You know, like, this is crazy. This is insane. This is, like, big stuff, you know? Like, oh my god. Friggin' insane. So, yeah. Marinette and Adrian are finally in love. Finally got some stuff about the sentient beings. All that's getting a little more confirmed. Lila's finally, like, a bigger deal now. Like, she always should have been. Like, Hawkmoth having all of the Miraculouses was insane. Like, that's just one of the most epic seasons of Ladybug in general. And we're only headed towards even more epicness to Ladybug. I mean, I can't even imagine. I hope it doesn't just, like, fall off from here. But, like, holy shit, I can't even friggin' imagine what's gonna happen next. Like, it got wrapped up really nicely, but there's also so much more potential to do for the future, you know? And we'll have to see how the movie is and stuff, you know, obviously. That's something I still gotta review, and I still gotta do, Shadybug and Claw Noir here in a couple days, whenever that comes out, so I guess until then, this has been great. I really loved rewatching Miraculous Ladybug. It's been so good. So much fun. I love this show. It's not even rewatching. I liked watching these episodes in English finally, because then I could finally understand what the fuck was going on. And, like, specifically what was meant by certain scenes in French that, like, confused the shit out of me, you know, like, so, I mean, some of this stuff is already confusing as fuck. Like, to watch it in French, too, on top of that, is just, like, even more confusing. So, it was great in French, but, like, in English, it makes so much more sense, you know, so. Anyway, I love this show. I think it's, like, this season especially elevated the show to be just an amazing freaking show. So, I really I think this season, like, really did a lot for Ladybug, and I want to see more. I'm just excited to see more, you know? I just want to see more. Zoe got her love confection. That was fucking amazing. I loved that. So good. Marinette, and, you know, all that shit. All of it was really good. It was a really good season. So, until next time, this has been Emily saying magic comes from the heart, and don't forget to subscribe, stick around, and join the Bad Girl Coven, and I'll see you guys in the next Miraculous Ladybug review, which will be the movie, I guess. Until then, Emily out.